good morning. I'm guessing by the time you listen to this, it'll be afternoon. It's the technically journey of conversations that we're on. We've been on for the last 3 weeks or so. So we're just talking to anyone who will listen to us, but mostly to innovators, entrepreneurs, and business leaders to see what's going on in the scope of the tech sphere. Well, my obvious co-host today are the usual Edwin Chabuka and Rufaro. I won't say Rufaro's last name because he doesn't like that.
Hi, Valentine.
And today we are joined by Mr. Ncube, the CEO of Dandemutande. Well, Utande, the internet service provider. So they recently launched a LTE service. So we're here to talk about that. But before we get into that, Mr. Ncube, can you introduce yourself to the people? Although I've made you a little redundant by saying your name, but I'm pretty sure they'd like to know from you anyway.
Okay, thanks, Valentine. My name is Ncube. I'm the CEO of Dandemutande. Dandemutande is a registered internet access provider and is the 100% shareholder of Utande Internet Services.
Fantastic. So we'll just get into the question. So Dandemutande/Utande has been around for a very long time. So this is when the internet in Zimbabwe was the Wild West. It was a frontier it was a luxury service for many. So what have you seen during your time from then and now, the changes that have happened in internet service provider, internet access providers from then and now?
Okay, thanks, Valentine. Yeah, it's actually not an understatement that Dandemutande has been around the block for a very long time. As you would know, we started this business in 1997 and we're one of the pioneer ISPs in Zimbabwe. And over the years, we have actually seen a growth in the ICT services. But I think there's been obviously an acceleration of the adoption of ICTs in the country. I would say probably around about 2011, 2012, when we launched our home solution, UMAX. That's really when we began to see a lot of excitement in the market about on consumers wanting to have reliable connectivity at homes. But beyond that, we've also just seen an uptake in the consumption of internet or ICT services in the country. If I can just give you some bit of statistics, Valentine, if you look at the internet penetration in the country from 2016, we closed the year with the 50% internet penetration. And by 2018, we were around about 63%. And in the third quarter of 2020, although there was a slight decline, but we are still slightly over 60%. And I'm thinking that probably by the time that we ended last year, we're probably in the region of about 62%. So this really has been the trajectory of service provision. And we've also just seen that the consumers or the customers have over the years changed their needs on what they want the providers to give to them. Initially, it was more of your rudimentary communication. People wanted to have internet connectivity to send emails. And then later on, we saw some uptake on social media needs as well. But that has now really graduated to a situation where the internet is at the core of business transactions. Here I'm talking about your e-commerce, your fintechs, and now internet is also at the core of enhanced communication to include your virtual meetings, the ones that we normally conduct on Zoom and Teams and other virtual communication platforms. And on the internet, on the entertainment space, we've also seen an uptake in the consumption of internet services for streaming purposes as well. Post-COVID, when it set in and when we had our first lockdown on the 29th of March last year, we then also saw a graduation of now using connectivity to deliver education and e-learning being at the center of what the customers are needing connectivity for.
Interesting. So would this uptake be the only reason, or there are other motivations behind Utande wanting to offer LTE services in addition to VSAT and fiber connections?
Those are really not the only solutions that we are providing in the market to Faro. Probably maybe are known for those two that we have mentioned, but on the 20th of June 2012, that's when we launched our WiMAX services under the brand UMAX, if you recall that. And then we launched with 12 base stations in Harare. We've since extended that service beyond Harare to cover Bulawayo and Mutare as well. But we've also then seen that COVID has kind of induced some new needs to the market. People are now yearning for greater speed. They are also yearning for reliability. And as you would probably know, that some of the new needs cannot be addressed using WiMAX because there are obviously technology limitations to that. But as an entity that really prides itself on customer experience, we felt it was opportune time to introduce a better and faster technology that will speak to the emerging needs of our market, and hence our choice of LTE that we've recently launched. And this is just the phase one of the rollout that you are going to be seeing in 2021.
Okay, so I like that you've actually just mentioned that this is the first phase, because one of the questions that I have is currently it's limited to uncapped packages. So I'm trying to understand, are you eventually going to offer pay as you go so that I can choose a smaller data package, pay less money instead of being forced to the uncapped one?
Yeah, so we are doing this referral in two phases. And phase one, for us, is January to June. And in that phase one, we are deploying 7 base stations, mainly in Harare. So far, we've already deployed in Masasa, Joina, Atbeni, and Pockett's Hill to cover the surrounding areas around those base stations. And in the next week or two, we'll be deploying in Glenlawn, Greencroft, and Aspendale. Then we are going to be receiving a consignment of about 13 base stations in mid-May, which we are now then going to be rolling out in Ruwa, Chitungwiza, Bulawayo, Mutare, Sushabane, Chiredzi, Ngezi, and then we'll also close some of the areas that will not have been fully covered in Harare. And in phase two, that's when we're going to then introduce capped packages, where our customers will be able to choose the type of packages that fit in their budgets. But we felt that we needed initially to start with the unlimited packages, and we are in the first instance trying to address the needs of our SMEs, our home-based businesses, and if you like, also our high net worth customers. But beyond phase one, that's when we will then be able to address the middle to lower income end of our market. But as you would know, our brand positioning has always been at the middle to top end of the market. We are not a mass market brand, and therefore we really would want to keep that focus in what we do.